Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Let's get right into going through all of our VPSs for the week and taking a look at what happened. We can see NZD CAD did not have any action this week. There is no weekly floating gain. There are no open trades down here. There is no action that happened on NZD CAD this week. GBP CHF, we can see the same. We had no action. You can ignore this. This is a random account I'm testing a bunch of stuff on. There we go. USD JPY, we had no action on. We had no action on AUD JPY. We are still in some trades on AUD NZD that we have been in for about 2 weeks, waiting on a swing here, which I can see the last level of resistance here was back in October 2020. And we kind of are seeing that wick right there. Same kind of concept. We could probably hit as low as that again. If we did, we'd probably take another level, and then TP'd probably move right about here and swing back and make some good money. But we have been in that AUD NZD swing. AUD CHF, we had no action on. All right. Going further in, Euro JPY, we had no action. And we kind of knew this. This week was a week that was not filled with much red folder news. The only red folder news that was really on the list was core CPI. So it was a really slow week for precision modes. As we can see, no action on Euro AUD. Euro USD, we are still in some trades. Same thing, just like AUD NZD, waiting on a swing. We can see we did break to that line of support here and resistance and bounced. So that's a great sign towards this buy, and just waiting on that to play out, re-reach this high again. Could take some time, but we'll make some great money when it happens. Euro CAD, we are in weekly floating profit right now. That's always a great thing. You can see that there was a spike right here, right on the daily, and we are making our way back towards the TP. We are in floating profit right now, a little less than 1%, but we'll let these trades hang out because they will probably bring in about 1.5%, I'd say. Once it makes its target. So Euro CAD, we are in these trades, but we have been in these trades since last week. We have had nothing on Euro CHF this week on our swing mode. And remember, all these accounts are in swing. So if swing mode is not getting any trades, Sniper definitely isn't getting trades, and Super Sniper is 100% not seeing a trade. So, you know, right now we're in a time in the market where things are a little more consolidated, and swing is probably a better mode to be using right now in the precision modes. If you are getting into, you know, later in the year, let's say October, November, December, those months are typically really great months to use sniper strategy. Same with January and February, but we're in the later part of the year, and the market tends in the summer to not have as large of movements. So you'll see in that GBP AUD, we have been in this trade for a while. We've been in this trade for over a month on this sell. You can see it's finally starting to drop. It consolidated up here a bunch once it made its run up. It had already had a nice run up, as you can see, and that's where we put our sell. And it's continued to run up a bit. We've been withstanding. Right now we're in minimal drawdown, if any at all, less than 1.58% on a $500 account, and just looking for this thing to come right down here to our TP, and that should play out very, very soon. GBP CAD, we have had no trades on, no action this week. Nothing going on there. GBP JPY as well, we can see there was no action on. GBP NZD, once again, not seeing any action on the week. GBP USD, same. There's been no action on the week here. So things have been definitely a little slow. What's going on here? Reconnect me in. All right, NZD USD, we had no action on the week. USD CAD as well, we had no action on the week. Give me a second as we reconnect to some VPSs. When you have 10 VPSs open, it tends to disconnect from a few. Not sure why Cloud Trader 7 is taking so long to load. We'll go over to 9 in the meantime. I don't like waiting for things, so we'll go over to our one pair data while those load. So as you can see, today, 0%. This week, 0%. We did not achieve any success. As you know, GBP JPY is inaccurate. You can ignore this one. USD JPY is accurate. And yes, it did take a loss and then start making it back. You can see right here, and it has ever since grown back. It got into some drawdown rate as we started it, took some losses, and it's since been making it back. Now, this goes back to an old trading account from a long time ago. I just added GBP JPY to the lineup recently, and I'm waiting on it to take its first trade so I can do a custom analyst and match it up with over here with these other ones I had started. Let's go take a look. Let's see the chat, what's going on here. Yeah, so always November, December, January, February are typically pretty active months, and I'd say October and November as well. Sometimes even September, but typically June, July, and August, the summer months tend to be a little slow on the in the markets. I noticed it last year, even in my developments of GearBox and building it. Running it all through June and July. It wasn't until like August and going into September that I started to see some larger moves, which made me add new features to GearBox to accommodate for larger movements, which is what we have now as the final product. John, great question. Or Jan, great question. She said, "Hey Tyler, I need to read the updated organized entries chart. What does each currency pair table with different entry levels, swing, precision mean actually? Will GearBox treat different currency pairs differently?" And absolutely, Jan, it'll treat different currency pairs differently. And the reason for that is you don't want to treat GBP NZD, which has an average daily range of almost 200 pips, the same as you're going to treat AUD NZD, which has an average daily range of 63 pips. If you treated those the same, GBP NZD is going to get you in drawdown constantly, so you have to treat currency pairs differently based on the way they move to make sure you're getting the best entries. So yes, the GearBox manager and entries will treat each currency pair differently. Now, you don't need to actually read that chart. You can read that chart, and I'll pull that chart up for a minute. But you don't really need to read it necessarily. You just need to, choose which strategy you want to use, and then apply it with the manager. But how would you read it? Well, really simple. If the blue box is here on gear 2, that means we enter on gear 2. So swing enters on gear 2, which means your settings would say on AUD NZD, enter gears above 1. So enter gears above 1 equals enter on 2. Right? It's gears above 1. So that equals 2 entry. All right. If you were on sniper, that would mean AUD NZD should say gears above 2, which means 3 entry. And that's how you read that chart. But again, you don't have to change it. You just apply your strategy with the manager, and these inputs are all preloaded into each currency pair for you based on the strategy you chose. That's why the manager is such a brilliant feature and product for GearBox. It really allows you to customize your experience to your liking without having to do a lot of manual setup and be able to read this and make a mistake and you accidentally put the wrong entry on the wrong chart, right? We simplified things to make it super simple for the end user to be able to use GearBox. Let's see if Cloud Trader 7 and 9 ever loaded. I'm not sure why these guys are stuck on a spinning wheel. So we're going to go ahead and do the classic close them fully and reopen them trick. 9%. All right, we're good for a little here. Connection center 9. Continue. And 7. There we go. Now it's going to let us in. All right. So same thing. Euro GBP had no action. NZD CHF had no action. NZD JPY had no action. Euro NZD as well had no action this week. I do know some people got in some Euro NZD trades. This is another example of why GearBox is going to trade differently for everybody. It really depends on where your Ghost Gears entry, what tick you got into the market, what broker you're using, what their feed looks like. There's a lot of variables to different trades or trade opportunities that could be taken. Let's go into the Q&A here. Lengthy question. I've been using GearBox for a while now and looking to withdraw some funds. Great, but has tax implications. However, in the UK, if you trade with a spread bet account, earnings are tax-free. A spread bet uses a price per pip basis. I don't know what that even means, to be honest with you. So I couldn't tell you if GearBox would handle it. I've never seen it. I don't know what that is. I'll tell you, I'm not a tax accountant whatsoever. Most people in the trading space tend to use cryptocurrency, and technically cryptocurrency, you're buying a property with your Forex profits. And as long as you're not cashing it out, you're not creating a taxable event per se. Again, I'm not an accountant. I don't live in the UK either. I live in the US, but I'm just telling you from firsthand experience. Most traders that I know use Forex brokers that take crypto. They cash out crypto, which essentially they're buying property with their Forex profits, which they don't need to report as a taxable gain until they cash out the crypto. So all a little bit different. In the UK, the max leverage allowed is 30 and 1. If you were to drop the risk, no, you would not. You're not going to work with 1 in 30 leverage on GearBox ever. My best advice to you is use an unregulated broker. Regulated brokers are not going to work with GearBox and many softwares out there, brother. 1 in 30 leverage, you're just not gonna. It's not gonna work with GearBox unless you're got 100K balance and you're okay with making 1% a month type of stuff. That's really the only kind of person I'd see using 1 in 30 leverage. Also, they probably don't allow hedging either, which you do need hedging allowed as well to see optimal performance. So yeah, I would, if I was you and looking to use GearBox, it's just not going to work on a regulated broker. So yeah, I would look elsewhere. All right. Yeah, Mariska, great, right there with the compliance. Any tax-related questions, please consult a licensed tax advisor. Each country has different laws, and we're not a financial advisory firm. Correct. Spot on. But like I said, I'm a big crypto guy, but every country is different. Every country has different tax implications, decides when you have a taxable event. Every place is different. I live in the US, so I only know a little bit about the US. And I'm still not a tax accountant in the US, so don't come ask me tax questions. Could you explain the 3 options for take profits based on? Absolutely. It's really simple. Real trades only means that even if you entered a level 6 trade, you're going to take your first trade at a 30 pip take profit. If you use double TP, you're going to have a 60 pip take profit on your first entry trade. If you use Ghost plus Real is a calculation. And what I mean by a calculation is, let's say you enter on level 5. Even though you entered on level 5, it's going to calculate your take profit based on if you were also in level 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Whereas if it needs to make enough profit on this trade to balance out any losses that would have happened on these trades, meaning that it's going to go for a very large take profit. So I personally trade with Ghost plus Real myself. Sometimes I manually close trades because the TPs just go. Sometimes it's going for 200 pips and you're 150 pips in floating profit, and you just take the profit, right? And other people stick to double TP or real trades only. It all depends on preference. Ghost plus Real is typically always going to secure you the most profit, but it also is not the most hands-off setting as well. If you're looking for super hands-off, typically a lot of people use double TP because it is going to be a little more conservative than Ghost plus Real, while also still securing you a nice bag. All right. And you're not seeing any more questions right here. So I'm going to let me go back to the Q&A. See it. Oh, I think something happened here. Just trying to tune into what we got going on. Okay, no more stuff here in Q&A or chat. Let's get right into Forex Factory and take a look at the week ahead. Hopefully we can see some more red folder news coming up. Right now, this week was very slow for GearBox, as you saw. I know a lot of intraday users had a great week and made some great money. During the slow weeks, intraday can be a great strategy if you are a precision trader and you don't have a second GearBox license. If you do have the funds to have a second GearBox license and the funds to have a second GearBox account, I'd highly recommend also, if you are an advanced user, someone who likes to be a little more hands-on and play with things, to also check out the intraday modes. But please do not use intraday mode as your only license. Precision mode is meant to be your safe strategy for the long haul. Intraday is meant to be that thing that gives you that action during weeks like this where you may see none from precision. So let's take a look at our upcoming week ahead and how we are looking. All right. So we have a lot of red folder news this week. This is great. This should lead to some amazing swing entries on GearBox. So we'll take a look. First things on Tuesday, we have core retail sale numbers from the US dollar. As well, we have Fed Chair Powell speaks. That's always a good one. NZD official cash rates, monetary policy statements, press conferences. That should be a great one. CAD has CPI. USD, we have FOMC meeting minutes. AUD has unemployment and employment change numbers reported. It looks like a really great week for red folder news. As always, I enjoy red folder news. A lot of EAs, people are always, pause for red folder news. We don't pause for red folder news with GearBox because that doesn't make any sense. That's where you're going to get your entry. So we look forward to red folder news with GearBox, and I'm looking forward to a lot of this red folder news this week as well. So it's definitely not a week where I would say you need to be more conservative. It seems like a pretty standard normal red folder news week, the kind of weeks we like and enjoy here. If this thing was packed out with a few more red folders and a few more currencies experiencing red folders, I might say maybe decrease your risk a little bit, but it seems like we really only have about 3 currency pairs, 4 here actually, that are reporting different numbers, different things here. So we have NZD, USD, Canadian, and AUD. So knowing there's only a few, that should hopefully make some movements, especially since some of them are majors, to send some movement in the market and get some good entries. Jan, you're asking the one question that I don't like to ever educate on, and it's the one last question. What is moving average period setting doing? Here's what I'm going to tell you, Jan. That is the one setting in the 3 years I've been using the base algorithm and developing GearBox that I have never touched. I don't touch it. I don't mess with it. I leave it at 20. I was actually going to hide it when we released GearBox because I've never touched it. So I was going to actually hide it, but I figured there's somebody that might be that hands-on with their product that they might make some changes to it or understand how to make modifications. Now, I've never made any changes to it. I've based all my data, all my success, everything I teach based on the number that's input in there right now. If you want to play around with it and change it, more power to you. To my understanding, the lower the number, sometimes the more likely it is to take a higher frequency of trades. I personally have always left it at the 20 base that it has. I have not messed with it. I've never changed it. And that is literally the one setting I've never played with. So Again, I was going to hard code it and hide it to where no one would even see it, but I left it there in case there are those traders that do decide to use it, which I know there are some in our community that do play with it. I believe one of my buddies, David's a great example. He's always playing with stuff. I believe he does actually change that number. But for me, based on the strategies and the data and everything I'm sharing with you, it's always been based on leaving that at 20. So, you know, if you want to start a demo account, play around, make some changes, more power to you. But always demo new strategies before you put live money on them. Always. All righty, I'm taking a look to see if we have any more news for the day here in the chat or the Q&A. Jan, I wouldn't say it's the technical indicator to enter trades. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that. There's a lot of things that go in place into the strategy to take trades, especially being precision mode. The real technical indicator to enter trades is going to be the gear entry you choose. The moving average periods is just more something that can maybe pick up some. Right, here we go. Greg's got it for you. MA20 makes sense when trading on daily chart. If you think there are 22 trading days in a month, 20 basically gives you 4 weeks, 1 month average. So exactly, it's more so looking at the moving average over a longer period of time. The shorter it is, the less data it's taking into account when it's making its decision on which way it wants to go and which direction. So when entering trades, yes, it would be more of which direction is what it's going to look for, and it's going to base that off of data. 20 is why I've always left it the way it is. Even when I use 1 hour or 4 hour, I still leave it in 20, because essentially the more data is always the better. You know, so again, I don't play with it. I don't make changes to it. If you want to make changes to it, Jan, you can. Just every user and most of my FX books you'll see from this product are all with MA20. You know, there's no one really messing with that one too much. But if you do want the software to look at less data when determining which direction it wants to go, that could be a riskier decision, right? We're always a fan of more data. That's why we also trade on the daily time frame. We look for the most accurate entries as we're looking at the larger time frame for larger swing moves, as we are looking to catch a lot of pips. Whereas maybe if you were a scalper, you found some settings for a scalping strategy, maybe you would want to make the moving average lower because you're looking for the lower time frame movement to get in and out of trades. Whereas for us right now, we're typically in precision modes looking for a large swing trade, right? We're looking for something with a large amount of movement. And you know, you're going to want to look at the larger time frame always, such as the daily. Especially if you're looking to secure 50, 60, 100, 200 pips in some of these trades. But if you were maybe just using real trades only and you had some, you know, scalp strategy of some sort, then yeah, maybe it makes sense to lower that. But I wouldn't play with it. But with that being said, I do not have any other updates for you guys. We are working hard on making a few more changes for GearBox 1.02. Some of the stuff we had talked about, such as